For a lot of people who watch these videos, Warhammer 40k may be your first introduction to models and building and painting and things like that. But for me, it actually wasn't. And when I discovered that there were books roughly related to the thing that actually put me onto modeling when I was really young, I had to dive into them. And that model I don't have with me, unfortunately, but the first model I ever built was an F-14 Tomcat, which was inspired by one of my favorite videos of all time, Top Gun. Top Gun came out before I was even born, but quickly became the obsession of me and my little brother for most of our childhoods. It was one of our go-to movies, still is, honestly. I watch it usually about once a year. And when I found out that Warhammer 40k had 2 books inspired by that, and one had just come out, I had to tackle it. So today we're going to be talking about Double Eagle and Interceptor City. Interceptor City is a sequel to Double Eagle, and they focus on the Aeronautica, the flyers, the fighters. And it really is a really cool representation of that Top Gun style in Warhammer 40k. So let's dive into it. We're going to do a book review on both of them, since they should both be pretty fast, and we'll go from there. Hey everybody, today's video is brought to you by Tartary Press. That's my personal imprint that sells all of my novels as well as some of my merch on my website. So if you go to www.tylertartar.com, you can get access to signed books like the Amazon bestseller anthology that I was in, or my fantasy trilogy, or my science fiction series. You can get all of those at www.tylertartar.com, as well as on Royal Road. You can find some upcoming stories that I have there to preview to audiences. So make sure you check those out, and let's get back to the video.
You can run, kid, but you can't hide.
So the first book in this duology so far is Double Eagle. It's a story that takes place, technically a branch off of the Gaunt's Ghost series. You actually do get to see the Phantine Air Corps in Gaunt's Ghosts. They're introduced there, along with some of the characters that actually play a pretty big part in Double Eagle. And you get to really see what the Aeronautica actually looks like. Phantine is a world that's a bunch of little islands with very little actual ground to fight over. So they've learned to specialize in air combat, whether that be jump troops or fighters or bombers. Their tie to the Imperium is aircraft and pilots. That's what they do, and they're very, very good at it. And we get to take a look at the Phantine Air Corps on their first trip outside of Phantine. They were originally formed to free Phantine from chaos, and then once they did that, along with the Tanith First and Only and several other Imperial Guard units, they now work with the Imperial Navy and kind of work as a joint group, kind of like the Marine Air Corps does for the United States Marines. They're tied more closely to the infantry and more closely to tactics. They also have a lot more ability to do what they need to do to get the job done. And we get to see that a lot in Double Eagle. It's a really, really cool story. I really enjoyed it. I actually read this one second because I didn't know it existed when I picked up Interceptor City. But I honestly wish I would have read this one first. I would have caught a lot more things in Interceptor City. There's a lot of subtle references to people and situations that we don't get to see as much without this. And I really, really loved Double Eagle. It was such a cool story to watch the Phantine Air Corps struggle to really get fully recognized by the Imperial Navy and be treated like equals, while also trying to do their best to protect people because they know exactly what those people are going through. Phantine had been under chaos attack recently, so all of these people had initially joined the Air Corps to protect their homeworlds. And they have a lot more understanding what the people are going through and what they're trying to deal with. So we see them often going out of their way to either bring in the local defenders and bring them onto the team to help fight, while also working to protect certain parts of the civilian populace and do things that the Imperial Navy, who doesn't really care that much, won't do. And it was, like I said, this was a really, really good book. Probably in my top 5 I've read so far this year. I'd have to go back and rank them a little bit, but so far, definitely up there. And the only thing that actually would rank in front of this is Interceptor City. I actually like that one better. But we'll talk about that in just a minute.
I feel the need for speed.
Interceptor City is the sequel to the series, and it's kind of important that you do read it in the correct order, unlike I did, because you're going to see a lot of things that you're going to miss if you read that one first. Don't get me wrong, I actually like Interceptor City better. The dogfights and the focus of the story is a lot more honed in on one character, so you get a lot more things you can relate to and things you're tied to than you would with Double Eagle. Double Eagle spreads it across several different characters, and you don't really have a true main character. You kind of do. And it is the same main character as Interceptor City, but focusing on the wing leader isn't as common in Double Eagle, which unfortunately is an issue. But in Interceptor City, it's not. You have one main character, that's who they focus on, and she is really, really cool. She's a skilled pilot. By this point, she's been injured so many times that she's taken herself off of the fighter line, and she's now just flying cargo planes. Honestly, like a lot of fighter pilots do now. Going from a fighter pilot to flying either commercial airlines or commercial freight is pretty common because it's how you stay flying once you're out of the military. And in the Imperial Guard, you're never really out until you're dead. In most cases, sometimes you get lucky, you can retire. But for her, she wants to fly, and the only way she can do that is to fly cargo haulers. And that's how we open it up. It goes into one of the most unique battlegrounds we've ever seen in a huge city that's been abandoned, and it has skyscrapers everywhere. And the fighters aren't fighting in the sky above, they're fighting in the vast streets below. So these fighters are flying through buildings, they're flying through large factories, they're flying up and down streets, trying to dodge walkways and bridges and trams, all while trying to stay alive and push back the enemy at all costs. It's a really, really high tension story. It's a really, really quick read too, despite its length. And it's honestly one of my favorite 40k books I've read in a while. It does have a lot of character depth. It has a lot of really good story. There's a lot of really good stakes in it as well that keep you on the edge of your seat the entire time you're reading it. So Interceptor City is definitely a recommended read, as is Double Eagle. With all of that said, let's talk about why I think you're going to like it.
All right, gentlemen, we have a hop to take.
A lot of Warhammer 40k players are big into either military history or just military videos and movies as is. And almost everyone I know is either a fan of Top Gun or hasn't seen it yet. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to actually watch that movie, please do. The sequel is really good too. I would check both of those out. But this really has a very Top Gun-esque feel to it. You get the real high-octane aerial combat, the amazing dogfights, the really insane turns and weaves and dives. You get the Maverick-like character, the one who doesn't really follow the rules, but is going to push to win. They're there for one reason and one reason only. And you see that in several characters in Double Eagle, and definitely the main character in Interceptor City. On top of that, you get a very elite military drama, as well as a really tight team dynamic and squad dynamic in both books that are very reminiscent of Top Gun. So the simple answer in all of this is, if you like Top Gun, you'll love these books. Definitely make sure you try them out. I do wish we could do something with it on the tabletop, because these characters are really, really cool. But unfortunately, the planes that are a part of this story, I don't believe have an index at all, or aren't included in the codex or index at all. I'll have to dive into that a little bit more, but I don't believe they are, which is unfortunate. I do wish Aeronautica actually still existed, so that I could paint these up and play them on a tabletop and see what they could do. But unfortunately, those aren't a thing anymore, and I'm definitely going to miss out on that. But I definitely do think these books are both a high recommendation. I hope you guys check it out. If you guys have any other books you'd like me to review, or any lore accurate armies you'd like me to tackle, or anything Warhammer related that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear some of your ideas and see what you guys are wanting me to do as well. And I'll see you guys next time.